Hey guys, Marsing here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to jump back into the BEERUS burst mode, and this time we are going to do the joined forces mission. Yesterday we did the legendary existence, we got the 6,000 points, so that clears all of the missions except for this one, which is to do the joined forces team. Now obviously if you've done all of the missions, like you got 6,000 points with your legendary existence team, then technically all you have to do for this mission is use a joined forces team. So technically you could just go into the burst mode and turn off all of the modifiers so that you're getting like 0 points, and you will still obviously clear the mission because you're just using the joined forces team. But for the sake of the video, and you know, maybe you guys didn't do legendary existence first and you still need to get those 6,000 points, we are going to get 6,000 points with the joined forces team. Now the first thing to note is that joined forces gives you a lot less points than legendary existence, so that means you are going to have to add some extra modifiers that we did not have on last time. So as we scroll down, the theory is basically going to be the same, which is that we're going to try and boost the enemy's defense and HP while not boosting their attack. So we are going to have these, you know, status defects. We don't really care about those, so those can be disabled. We don't want him to reduce damage from our units, which is int and physical, so the STR one can be on. This one that gives the enemy a bit of an attack buff and then a defense buff is worth a lot of points, so I think that's worth putting on. I think this is like the only one that gives them attack that we're going to use. Now previously I had used this one, but we're going to bump that up a little bit, so the enemy gets a little bit of extra damage reduction, but that's fine. None of these attack buffs on. The lowest possible one from this category here, an extra 100% defense for the enemy. We give them the HP buffs, and then I changed this one as well. We had this on before. This is basically just for if the enemy, like if we do any additional normal attacks, because we're giving the enemy a lot of extra HP and damage reduction and defense, it's very possible for our additional normals to do lower than this damage threshold, but that's not really going to matter too much. And then we keep off the locking and the key debuffs. Those can easily be worked around depending on your team, so you can choose to use them or not. And then there you go. As you can see, the setups that we've got here give us basically 10 points less than we got before. So we jump into team formation, and this is the team that I've got set up. Now we're using the double Vegeta and Trunks lead, because not only is this unit incredibly good, but obviously they lead Bond of Parent and Child and Future Saga. Bond of Parent and Child is going to include all of the Goku and Vegeta dual cards, and then we have the Goten and Trunks and the Zamasu and Gowasu. They're obviously the weaker units on the team, but they are just going to be the slot 3 floating units. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and see how we get on here. So I'm going to turn the auto map on, let it get us there in its own time. So the idea will be to run Vegeta and Trunks in slot 1 on both turns, and then we'll run basically the LRs as their backup. So we'll have one rotation with the Super Saiyan 4s, and then I guess to be fair we can alternate between BEERUS, the Vegito and the Gogeta, the 3-year LRs. Because the final phase, once BEERUS goes into his rage mode, is physical, so we probably don't want the Vegito LR around. Obviously, if once they fuse, they're going to be fine, but we'll do this if they fuse, of course, because we haven't really given the enemy any attack buffs, so he's probably not going to be able to do that much damage to us. Now, one strategy that I have seen that's pretty funny, if you want to go for a high score and set some of these other modifiers, remember there's no time limit, right? You don't get points based on the number of turns that you beat the event in, you don't get points based on like how quickly you actually beat the event. So in the first phase, Whis is completely invincible. So if you've brought a bunch of units that can stack, I saw a lot of people commenting on the legendary existence one, because we have a lot of stacking units on that team build. Not so many on this one, but you could, if you wanted to, just spend multiple turns just repeatedly attacking Whis, and then, you know, you can't be killed, so you're just going to build up tons and tons of stacks with your stacking units, and then you're going to be looking pretty good. So wow, he sealed Vegeta and Trunks. That is unfortunate. Well, we can do this. Goku and Vegeta should take him out here. And if not, Goten and Trunks on the end should. I think this is the first time I've used Vegeta and, Goten and Trunks in quite some time. I think the last time I used them actually was when I managed to do a successful clear of the Cell Max event using them, which was kind of funny. So, wow, is that enough status effects there? At least from that super. Still did double-digit damage though, so not really too fast. Did we take him out? Ooh. So that's the thing. Having that little bit of extra damage reduction and a bit of extra HP definitely goes a long way. Goten and Trunks able to take him out, and we can move on to the next phase. So, should be looking good here. Did this end up being the first turn for the Super Saiyan 4s? I actually can't remember. Were they on rotation before? We can get a lot of ki with them. Now, obviously, they don't share a ton of ki links with Vegeta and Trunks, which is unfortunate, right? That's always been the LR Super Saiyan 4's sort of main drawback, is they don't have a ton of the most common ki links outside of just running their own team with like other Super Saiyan 4s or GT units, but they're still very good. They'd still be very effective. So, plus you never know if we do. We'll get Gogeta out at some point if we get the opportunity to. That's the great thing about adding these modifiers, right, is the fact that even for the Legendary Existence run, where we bought a very, very powerful team, it still took, what, 3 or 4 turns to finish off the final phase of BEERUS. So, it's one of the reasons why I think Burst Mode is pretty cool, because it's not super difficult. Like, if you really are only going for the 6,000 points, like, it's not very difficult, but it gives you, like, a few extra turns that you can play around in an event that isn't super hard. And then if you really want to, you can throw on a bunch of the extra modifiers and actually make it like a bit harder for yourself, which is kind of cool, right? So it's nice to have the little bit of a different speed kind of event, right? Because you do have control over just how difficult you want to make it, essentially. So if you're just going for the 6,000 points to complete the missions, it's really not that difficult. Gives you a chance to just kind of mess around in the event a little bit. Now, I'm a little bit concerned about Zamasu and Gawasu potentially eating a ton of damage at the end, but I think we should be okay. You only need 1 ki, so let's do this, because then I can grab all of these for you, and then we can grab those for you. So, Gawasu and Zamasu are a unit that would be very interesting to see what their EZA is going to be, right? Because they have built-in dodge, and they provide the entire rotation with defense, so for quite some time after their release, they certainly were a viable unit to run on teams as a defensive support, and then their dodge was kind of their backup. But obviously as they started to age out, it got to a point where it's like if they're not dodging the attacks, they're getting absolutely destroyed. So hopefully an EZA for them would be good. I feel like nowadays it's almost dangerous to look forward to certain EZAs, especially for like, you know, general pool units after these Realm of Gods EZAs, or sorry, Battle of Gods EZAs, with so many of them not really being super impressive. Because the one I remember talking about somebody right after these batch of EZAs dropped was the AGL West Kai. I feel like she has the potential to be a really, really good support unit for Realm of Gods when she gets an EZA, but obviously that is completely relying on them not absolutely like fumbling her EZA, which certainly is a thing that could happen. So let's go ahead and use our active skills here. We'll get the Vegeta and Trunks one. We can do some damage and boost everybody's defense. I don't think dodge is disabled, right? That's not like a modifier we picked or anything, so we just got very, very unlucky, I think, with Gawasu and Zamasu in the previous turn, because I have mine built for full dodge, so the fact that they didn't dodge a single attack and basically took like 100k per hit, pretty unfortunate. That BEERUS face close up.
We did it, Trunks.
Alright, so do some damage, buff the entire rotation, and then let's go ahead and transform into Gogeta. This fusion active skill is still very, very cool.
Person I expected to suggest fusing. This is going to be special. I can feel it. Fusion. I'm neither Goku nor Vegeta.
Also, I think because we're below the HP threshold, we might actually just be able to use his active skill straight away as well. Yeah, we can. Let's go. Still one of my favourite animations in the game, this active skill.
I've had enough. It's time to unleash my most devastating attack.
Just because of that, it's such a clean shot, I love it. And then this, the like close up. Yeah, look at that. Very, very cool. Alright, so I need to get a decent... we can't get a lot of ki with Goten and Trunks in the end. it's not great. Not great. Unfortunately, like I said at the start, Gogeta being a bit awkward on the key side is not really good for us here. If we can't get a super, I guess we might just do this. Drop down, connect these AGL orbs. Wow, Vegeta and Trunks dodged that attack. It would have given them the extra key they needed to do an 18 key super. That's pretty funny. And by funny, I mean annoying. It's a shame we didn't do enough damage in the previous turn to go into the Fury mode, because then obviously BEERUS would be physical instead of STR. So I am a bit concerned about Goten and Trunks at the end here. Fortunately, he has supered, so I don't think they're going to take 250. Well, surely they're not going to take 250k from a super, a normal attack, right? Surely not. We would hope. Especially with the defensive buff from Vegeta and Trunks, but I guess we'll see. So Gogeta getting the additional super attack. Yeah, that super attack animation's still very, very cool. Get the crit as well, let's go. And then look at that, getting the triple super turns. We didn't get enough key to get the 18 key super to start off with, but getting the triple 12 key super, I will take that. That leaves him with very, very high defense. Wow, 0, okay. 62k. Alright, I mean that's not great, but I guess we take that. And then let's see. Oh, perfect timing. There you go. So we get the fusion into Gogeta. Imagine if this was the perfect timing where I floated. What? Yeah, it is. Let's go. Alright, this is the turn where I literally floated off one of the other ones. So now we have both of them on the same turn. We get both of them to fuse. Yeah, this is going to be pretty good. So let's go ahead and... It's not a great selection of orbs though, unfortunately. So if I do this... You know what, let's put Vegeta there. Let's take the risk. I don't really want him to eat a super, but I'd rather throw him in front of the counters and then we'll grab those. Not being able to get 18 key supers for either of them is a little bit awkward, but if Vegeta gets crits on his counters, he will make up for it by doing all that extra damage, right? In fact, if he crits on the counters, we might actually just take him out off the back of those, because having double int units on the turn is obviously not ideal. See if Vegeta and Trunks can get a crit on this 12 key super here. Nope. Alright. Why do I have a feeling that Vegeta is just going to eat a super attack to the face? I feel like that is a very possible outcome. Alright. Come on, give me some crit counters. Bro, come on. I don't need them crits. No crits. Are you joking to me? He's got full crit build. And we got no crits on any of his counters. Bro. And then Gogeta gets a crit on his super. Okay. Alright, well. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. What can you do? Grab this. You can get all of these. Alright, this is going to be a good turn now. We get the full... Oh, that's awkward. Get the full 18 key super for Gogeta, which means he is going to action break one of the attacks against Gowasu and Zamasu. So they should be perfectly fine at the end there. I guess worst case scenario, they could get blasted with a super attack. Now obviously remember, this is only one possible way to do this, right? Because the mission is for joined forces. And this is just using the Vegeta and Trunks leader skill. Obviously they are a very powerful unit to have anchored in slot 1. Very good like defensive base for each of the rotations. But, you know, there's multiple different ways that you could build this team. In fact, you know, the actual 7th anniversary LRs, you know, you've got the movie heroes or Power Beyond Super Saiyan for the LR gods. There's a bunch of joint forces units you can use there. The Gogeta not so much, right, because it's fused fighters and GT heroes, so there's not quite as many joint forces characters. But and then obviously if you're on JP watching this, because obviously this stuff is on both versions at the same time, you have the 8th anniversary LRs as well, and there's quite a few joint forces units on their teams, so there certainly are a bunch of options. I mean, you think about just how many LR like Goku and Vegetas there are in the game, and how many of them you can run, you know, joint forces units on those teams. So there's definitely a lot of setups available. This one probably one of the most effective ones for global. It's definitely not the fastest, right? But as you can see, apart from some scary hits we took early on, I guess that is the one downside, right? Is we're using units like Gowasu and Zamasu and Goten and Trunks, who I probably wouldn't bring if I hadn't already decided to use Vegeta and Trunks off the bat. In fact, you probably are able to make a much better team using units like the Gods as the lead or something like that, right? But as long as we get all the points, that's what we're here for. And then, like I said at the beginning, if you've already done the 6,000 points on your legendary existence run, then you actually have no reason to put like any of the modifiers on whatsoever. I mean, you could literally just put on the no items, no support memory, and then because you haven't put on any of the difficulty ones, the event is not going to have any more difficulty than it would normally as a normal Dokkan event. So you'll just absolutely steamroll through it. So I would say that is the best way to go about this, right? Whichever one of the category teams you can build the strongest out of Legendary Existence or Joined Forces, get the 6,000 points using that team, and then just jump into the second one and just throw on the like no items, no support memory, and then just bash out the final category nice and easy. So I think we should be good here now, right? I don't know. We need to get crits. That's the only problem. We've been slowly lacking based on the damage. Just because we've given BEERUS obviously a lot of defense, HP, a little bit of extra damage reduction to get the score up from the previous run, all because Joined Forces gives you less points than the Legendary Existence. But Vegeta and Trunks not having type disadvantage now means that we're not relying on them to crit to actually do damage. So, well, they still don't finish him off, but Gogeta with the full 24 key should come in. Considering they barely got any stacks before fusing, Gogeta's still able to put out some pretty solid numbers, and there's the KO to take out BEERUS. So there you go. That one took a little bit longer, but that was the burst mode using the full Joined Forces team. We got the 6,000 points, even though we didn't actually need to for this run, right? Because we already got it on the previous one with Legendary Existence. But depending on which one you need to do first, you can get 6,000 points with both of these very, very easily. So we should, yeah, it comes up afterwards. There you go. There's the last burst mode mission. Beat it with a Joined Forces team. Nice and easy. So let me know what team you guys use down below for Joined Forces, especially if you didn't use Vegeta and Trunks. Let me know what your build looked like down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.